Yo, what it is, guys? Me, Eddie again. Welcome back to another ranking video. So we're back at it again with another ranking video. So today I'll be ranking every single video game console ever released. So yeah, not only the consoles we all care about, all those that no, seriously, every single console that ever existed. And here's all of them. Man, my God, look at all this shit right here. Like, seriously, I don't know how long this will take. So, I bet there's more than 100 goddamn consoles over here. Most of them probably I already know. And most of them that I have probably never heard of. Hell, I never heard of in my life. Or even I never even seen it. So, yeah, so I'm gonna start with what the fuck? Okay. First, I'm gonna show you my chart. So the best would be Banger. So you probably know what the hell Banger is. That means that's the best. That means it's a banger. It's the best, one of the best ever made. The best. We got Great, which pretty much it's a great console for its time. Like, not the best, but it's still great. Good means not the best, not great, but it's fine. Trash means it's terrible, which you probably already know. And never heard of, because I put that because a lot of these consoles I have probably never heard of or never seen them before in my life. So yeah. So I'm gonna start with this guy right here, the PlayStation, a banger. That's a banger right there. One of the best of its kind. Like one of the best of the what generation? 5th generation of consoles. Like that was the shit back then. The Nintendo Switch, a banger. You probably already know where I'm gonna put that. The Sega Saturn. I'm not a huge fan of this thing actually, because first, there's no good Sonic game. Second, it's overpriced. It was $400, which is not good. And third, Saturn is not a cool name. It's not. It's kind of weak. So I'm gonna give it a chance. So it's okay. Okay, what is this one? Fun fact: I actually heard of Atari. I know Atari. Yeah, you already know. The Atari 5200, complete trash. You already know what about all. You already know all about the controllers and shit and the games. So yeah, it's a big ass console, big fat ass console. So next up is the good old Game & Watch. Well, this is actually the Japanese version of the Game & Watch. If you already can tell, this is the Japanese version of the Game & Watch. Obviously. So, I never played it because I don't live in Japan, obviously. So they don't have this. They don't have this in the United States. They have We used to have Game & Watch in the United States, sure, but not this version. This is the Japanese version. I think this is Donkey Kong, I believe. So I'm gonna give it a great. It's not a banger, but it's great. It was actually pretty great for its time. The Amiga CD32. Oh, complete trash. The name I'm not a huge fan of. The name kind of sucks. What is Amiga? I'm a huge fan of computers. I'm a huge fan of tech. So, Amiga was actually a defunct computer company. And yeah, the Amiga CD32 was the nail of their coffin. That's why they shut down, because of this bad boy right here. This big motherfucker. Next up, the Magnavox. How do you pronounce it? Magnavox Odyssey. So, this is actually, fun fact, this is actually the very first console ever made and released back in 1972, I believe. It's a pretty fucked up looking console. I mean, for the time being, I guess, but I'll accept that for the time, but today, it looks like, I have no idea. I have no idea what the hell is. It's trash. Next up, I have no idea, but I heard about that. The Sega CD and the Sega 32X, complete waste of garbage. Next up, the PS3, the good old PS3. It's not a banger, but it's actually pretty great. Actually, it was sure it was very overpriced for $600. Are you kidding me? No, hell no. But it was great. I mean, it's not as well. I mean, it's not up there with Xbox 360. Yeah, it is up there, but close. Pretty much close. I'm a huge PlayStation guy, but I mean, it's true. It's true. I'm making a point right now. This one right here, never heard of. I don't even know what the hell that thing is. I don't even know that's a gaming console, or looks like a fucking boot bag or phone. Looks like a fucking phone or something. This one I have never even heard of. I don't even know what the hell this thing is. This one, again, never heard of. This one right here, obviously we all heard of, the Xbox fucking 360. A banger, a big banger. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sorry for putting it as a better console of the seventh generation. I mean, for a cheaper price for its time. I mean, how can I say no for that one? I mean, that's probably one of the best consoles ever made, and also the worst, because you already know what I'm talking about. Yes, the Red Ring of Death, obviously, but that was probably one of the few flaws, like that everybody you already know. Next up, this one, I heard of a console that's called. It's actually one of the first consoles to use touchscreen, and it was a trashy console actually, and it has probably one of the worst names for a console I ever heard. It's called. I think it's called the Gamecom. I think this is the second version of the Gamecom. The first version, the first version was black, but this one's kind of silver. The Gamecom. Do I really have to talk about this thing? Nope. The name's terrible, actually. Sega Game Gear. Good. It's actually pretty good. I mean, not as good as the Game Boy, but it's still pretty good. Okay. This is probably one of the ugliest handheld consoles I've ever seen. The Nokia N-Gage. It looks like trash. Pretty much, as we all know, the taco phone. It looks like garbage. Like, pretty much pure garbage. Like, oh my god. Do I really? Trash. Just trash. Throw that in the garbage. Also, that's a phone too, so that's probably one of the ugliest phones ever. That's why they call it a taco phone. Next up, the Xbox. Okay, I'm sorry. Xbox One. Because I'm not an Xbox guy. I'm definitely not an Xbox guy, so it's great. I mean, not banger. It's definitely not a banger, but it's great. I know you're gonna give me a lot of hate. I know there's a lot of Xbox gamers out there that will hate me for this. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this by all of you Xbox gamers and Xbox people. Next up, I don't even know what the hell this thing is. I've never heard of it. It's probably one of those shitty Pong consoles. This one too. This one right here. The PS Vita. Obviously, it's the PS Vita. It's actually a pretty good console. Like it was overshadowed by the 3DS. So, I'm gonna give it a chance. So it's actually a pretty good, damn good console for its time. I mean, it's pretty underrated, and it just died off. Not too long, but next one right here. I have no fucking clue. What is it called again? Oh, It's actually it's a pretty ridiculous looking console. There was a console I heard. What was the name of the company? They make calculators. I believe they make calculators. Don't they make calculators? I don't know if that's the actual console. I don't know what was the name of the console. There was a company called Casio. Yes, Casio. I think. Do they make calculators? Yeah, they do make calculators and watches too. They also make watches. And I don't know if that's their console or not. I believe not. Well, I don't think so. I don't think that's not the Casio console. So, never heard of. Besides, it looks kind of trash actually. It looks pretty stupid actually. All that purple and shit. Next up, that's the Gamecom right there, the original Gamecom. Same thing, trash. Pretty much trash. The ColecoVision. For the time, it was pretty underrated for the time because of the Atari 2600, obviously. So it's okay. I mean the ColecoVision sounds okay to me. Next up, the Atari Jaguar. Pretty much the first 64-bit. That's what they say. 64-bit my ass. They have probably one of the ugliest graphics I've seen. Okay, next up, the Game Boy Color. Oof, man, a banger. That's a banger right there. That, my friends, is a banger. I heard it's called the Telstar. It's supposed to be a punk console. Yeah, trash. Pretty much trash. Oh yeah, where I learned this thing from? Oh, your good old pals from AVGN, Angry Video Gamer. Been a fan for years now from Cinemassacre, so been a huge fan for a long time with Cinemassacre and the AVGN Angry Video Gamer. So that's where I got it from, from the Pong Consoles episode. I know you probably already heard of the AVGN problem, pretty much. Next up, PS4. A banger. A big banger right there. One of the best. This right here. It's called the Pocket Station. It was actually only released in Japan by Sony. And what I heard, you're supposed to, it's like actually both a memory card and a gaming console. It can't help too. Like you can play little games on it. If you save your data on that thing, you can play games on it with the games you saved on it. I never heard. I heard of it, but it's actually sounds pretty cool. Actually, I mean, I'm gonna put it good because it doesn't sound great on paper, but it actually sounds pretty cool. Next up, ooh man, the Nintendo DS. The good old Nintendo DS. A banger. That's a big banger right there. Next up, the Wii. The Nintendo Wii. Actually, I never have been a fan of the Wii. I used to love it and used to own it. But looking at it right now, it's fine. I mean, it's actually pretty great. It's actually great. It's definitely not a banger because it looks kind of ridiculous, but it looks cool and ridiculous. But I mean, I'm not a big fan of the controller. I mean, the controller looks fine to me. It looks fine, but it's not a banger, but it's great. Next up, that's the Casio console. I pretty much forgot what it's called. What is it called again? It's a Casio console, and it's only released in Japan. And it's actually a pretty big flop. It's a huge flop, I heard. It's called. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm not making this name up. It's called the Casio Loopy. No shit, that's what's called, the Loopy. Because, fun fact, this console is actually made for, you guessed it, girls. Like, this is probably fun because weird fact. This is actually their only video game console, and it's kind of weird that they never make a console for boys, and this is for the girls. I mean, I don't have a problem with that, but I mean, it's weird. I mean, it's cool that it's not pink because it makes it more feminine. That's kind of feminine actually, but it's purple, so you know what? It actually sounds pretty trash, actually. It looks pretty trash. And the games looks trash too. This guy right here. Nope. Never heard of. Never heard of. Never heard of. This guy right here. The Atari 7800, that's what they call it. Yeah, the 7800. It's okay. It's better than the rest of them, of the Atari consoles. Well, not the rest, but I mean, it's better than the 5200 and the Jaguar. But it's fine, and you know, I like it. This guy right here, never heard of. I have no fucking clue what the hell this thing is. It doesn't even look like a video game console. It looks like a fucking stupid fucking toy. Ooh, the Atari. Oh my. I'm sorry, no, not Atari. Nintendo Family Computer, or the Famicom. Yes, this is a Famicom, a great console. I mean, it was like the Japanese version of the NES, which I actually like this version cooler. It actually looks cooler than the NES. Actually, I don't lie, it looks pretty badass actually. So yeah, wait, another PS3? Well, again, wait, why is this another PS3? I don't know. Same thing with the Great. This guy right here, the Sega Master System. One of the very first Sega consoles to be released to North America. It's okay. I mean, it's not as good as the NES, but it's fine. I mean, it's good. Next up, the Super Famicom, the Japanese version of the Super Nintendo. It's actually pretty great, actually. I mean, it's the same thing as the Super Nintendo, pretty much. Next up, this weird thing, which I have never heard of. Next up, ooh my god, I heard about this. The Panasonic 3DO. The game's, oh my god, complete trash. I heard of Panasonic. They make TVs and shit. Yeah. Next up, oh man, the PS2, the best console ever made. One of the best-selling consoles ever made. Ever released. The best-selling consoles in history. One of the best. The best console in history. The best-selling console in history. One of the best. I love this thing. Like, I own the thing. So y'all know I sometimes play PS2 games. Sometimes. But this thing is a banger. It'll bang on oh my god. Sorry. So next up, it is another banger right here, the Game Boy Advance. I love this thing. This is actually a pretty cool console. Next up, oh yeah, let me say something. Sorry. Like, there's so much shit I'm gonna have to say about the thing. Like, I used to play. I never played it, but man, I used to play. I actually did play it. Some Mario and Luigi. I forgot what the name of the game is called, but I sort of heard about it. And there's some other games that I swear I heard of. So yeah, pretty awesome console for the time. Awesome. Next up, another one of the Pong consoles I heard. Like another console I heard of from the Angry Video Game Nerd, from the Pong console episode. Also one of my favorite AVGN episodes. Period. Next up, the Xbox, the original Xbox. Pretty great actually. It's actually pretty great. I mean, even though I'm a PlayStation guy, I'm gonna give them a chance, I guess. Even though I'm not, even if I put it good, if I put it okay, I'm gonna get a lot of hate. So I don't want to get hated for that. So next up, the Vet. I heard about this. The Vectrex. The Vectrix. Is that what it's called? The Vectrix? Or sorry, the Vectrix. I think that's what it's called, or just called plain Vectrix. So it's supposed to be a polygon console. It looks okay. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's actually quite cool because it's actually you can move it. It's actually like it's a whole entire console. The whole console is like a TV, and you can play your games on that TV that came with that is bundled in. Like, well, it's not bundled in, but the console's like the TV pretty much, and the game controller is connected to the console itself, which is the screen pretty much. It's pretty cool actually. I mean, not the best, but not great, but it actually sounds pretty cool on paper actually. Next up, the Sega Nomad. That's what it's called, the Nomad. It's actually a portable version of the Sega Genesis. It sounds pretty cool, so I'm gonna give it that. It sounds pretty cool on paper. Next up, the good old Game Boy. Oof, the Game Boy. I mean, for graphics, black and white graphics, it's not a banger, but it's great. You know, it's great. It's actually pretty great, actually. For black and white graphics, it's actually not bad for the time. I mean, I like it better than the Game Gear because, you know, I like Nintendo better than Sega, pretty much. I used to love Nintendo. Next up, the Nintendo 64, as we all know. I don't know if this is the console itself or the peripheral under it. The peripheral is supposed to be a disc base, which is actually, I heard, it's pretty damn rare. I heard, and it can be worth a lot of money. So, I mean, I never heard of. I heard of it, but I never heard of the name. I forgot the name pretty much, so I don't know much about it. So, next up, the Nintendo 3DS. This is the original 3DS, not the XL, which there's no XL on this list, so that sucks. So, this is a banger right here. I actually used to own the 3DS XL, the new 3DS XL, the newer version, not the old version. I used to love it. I love it. Next up, oh my god, the Philips CDI, horrible console, a complete trash of a console, complete trash. You probably already know what games are in there. Mario Hotel Mario, Zelda, and you probably already know what I'm talking about. And I don't feel like talking about it. So, horrible console, complete dog shit. This console right here, never heard of. I don't even know what the hell that thing is. Looks like a DVD player. Next up, the Atari Lynx. It's okay. I mean, it's the same. I feel the same thing for the Game Gear. They're both pretty good. Not as good as the Game Boy, but it's actually a pretty weird looking console. But looks pretty uncomfortable on your hands. Next up, the good old GameCube. It's actually a pretty great console. I mean, not the best, but not the banger, but it's actually pretty damn great. I mean, the lunchbox pretty much. I like the color, and it's actually a very underrated console for the 6th generation because, yeah, you already know the PS2, the Xbox, it got overshadowed by those two consoles. Yeah, I know. But man, I heard a lot of good shit about that console, the GameCube. I heard a lot of great shit. Like Mario Sunshine, Metroid Prime, and fucking Super Smash Brothers Melee and shit. Oh man, good old memories. Never heard of this thing. I don't even know what the hell that thing is. Next up, the good old PSP. Great. Actually, I feel the same thing for the PS Vita. I mean, it's pretty great. Not as good as the DS. Well, I actually used to own this thing. Fun fact. I used to own this thing. So, you know what? I give it a banger. So, I mean, I actually like it better than DS, sort of. So, yeah, I'm gonna give it a chance. Next up, What the hell this thing is? I have no fucking clue. This one, the same thing, no clue. It looks pretty stupid, actually. I don't know what the hell is all that blue shit. Hey, we got the Atari 2600. You know what? For the time being, it's actually a banger for the time, for its time. So I'm gonna give it a chance. You know, it's a classic old console. It's actually probably one of the greatest consoles ever made. So, pretty much. Um, never heard of this thing. Hey, the NES. Yay, look at that. It's the NES. Good old Nintendo. Nintendo Entertainment System. A banger. Definitely a banger. Next up, I actually never heard of this thing. I heard it's supposed to be a Laserdisc console. I actually know about Laserdiscs. They got washed away by the DVD. They got replaced by DVDs. You know, the big ass golden discs. They're probably bigger than, they're about as big as like a record discs. Like, you already know you don't probably know what I'm talking about. So yeah, they're supposed to be better than VHSs, but not as cheap. Not as cheap. Actually, they're actually more expensive than VHS, which is not great. But it's actually I heard it's pretty trash. Actually, that's what I heard. Yeah. Next up we have is the Sega. It's actually supposed to be the very first Sega console ever made. This came out before the Sega Master System, only in Japan, I believe. Never heard of, actually. But I heard of, but I never know the name. I forgot the name. I never heard of this thing. It doesn't even look like a console. It looks like a PC. So, yeah, it looks like something for the computer. So, next up we got is the... Oof, man. I think I know what the hell that thing is. Is this supposed to be the Sega CD? Yeah, I think it's the Sega CD. Trash. Same thing. Trash with the 32X. This thing right here, I have no clue what the hell that thing is. I think, but no. Actually, I don't. Next up, the Atari Jaguar. Again, with the, I think it's the disc console. It's probably the same thing. Trash. Next up, another banger right there. The Super Nintendo. I love this thing. I fucking love this thing. Like, I never grew up on it, but I remember so much good memories on the Super Nintendo Classic, which I actually own. I actually love, but it's the same thing. So, next up, another Pong console. It looks trash, actually. So, it looks like a fucking robot. It looks like a head of a robot. No joke. Next up, never heard of this thing. This one right here, never heard of it. Doesn't even looks like a DVD player. Never heard of this one. Looks like a computer. Never heard of this one also. Hey, I think it's the second version of the Genesis. The second version. I have the same thoughts of this one. The same thing with which actually this is actually this only. Wait, actually this is actually the only Sega Genesis on this list. So, you know what? For the time being, it's actually a banger. For the time being. It's actually a pretty cool console, the Sega Genesis. Sorry about that. Sorry. So next up we got is the R-Zone, which I heard of. It's supposed to be it's supposed to be worse than the Virtual Boy. It looks complete trash. You're supposed to strap it on your head, and you're supposed to, the game is on some sort of eyepiece, I guess, some glass thing, and you're supposed to move your eyes around, and you're supposed to look at that little glass thing right there, which is actually pretty awful. So, complete trash. This one right here, never heard of. This one right here, I actually kind of heard of. It's supposed to be a sequel to this guy right here, the Magnavox Odyssey. This is supposed to be the Odyssey 2. It still looks like trash, actually. Next up, never heard of this thing. Hey, I heard of this thing. Oh, of course we all heard of it. It's the good old sad Dreamcast. Sega Dreamcast. I'm sorry, guys. You know what? It's a great console. Not a banger, because, well, it's probably one of the most underrated consoles ever made. Like, it's been overshadowed. Definitely, it's 100%. It was overshadowed to death by the PS2 when it came out. Like, it came out a year before the PS2, and everybody completely forgot about this thing when the PS2 came out. Like, no joke. It's sad, I know. And it was their last console, Sega's last console, pretty much. Next up, we got it is probably one of the stupidest console like names I've heard in my life. Before the Microsoft's Xbox, before Microsoft made its way with the Xbox, in 1995, I guess, I don't know, in the 90s, I guess, Apple, no joke, Apple made their own console. Why? Oh, you never knew Apple actually made a console one time, a video game console one time, and it was a huge failure. Like a huge failure. And yes, it's called the Pippin. I didn't make that name up. It's supposed to be a half console, half computer. Like you can go to the internet with it, I guess. So on paper, it looks pretty bad actually. On paper. This one right here, I have no clue what the hell that thing is. Next up, the Virtual Boy. Awful. I would never put my eyes through that thing, or else I'll probably have some seizures or something. I never want to put my eyes on that thing. Never in my life. Next up, the Intellivision. It's actually pretty great actually for its time. I mean, as a competitor to the Atari 2600, they actually made a pretty good competition actually. So yeah, sorry, I'm talking too much. Sorry. Next up, the Nintendo Wii U. Yes, the Wii U. Do you all remember this thing? Well, I actually do. This thing has been like, it's a good console. Don't get me wrong, it's a great console. But not a lot of people, a lot of people bought it when it was released, but after the PS4 and the Xbox One, not a lot of people buy it because who the hell wants this ugly, this weird? I'm sorry to say that to Nintendo fans. Like, sorry, but I actually used to own it actually, and don't use it too much. I think when I bought it, my grandmother gave it to me, and she bought it. I actually do enjoyed it, and that's it. and I got a PS4 later that Christmas, and I completely forgot about the Wii U. I'm sorry, but it's true. So Wii U, it's good. It's okay to me. Next up, the TurboGrafx 16. The name sounds pretty cool actually. I mean, the game looks pretty cool. It's actually one of the very first 16-bit consoles. It came out a few years before the Sega Genesis, which is actually pretty cool. I mean, for the time being, it was actually a really good console, but it's actually pretty cool. So, yeah, I'm going to give it a great. Next up, I know this thing. The Neo Geo. Pretty much. So, yeah, I already know this thing, the Neo Geo. A great console. Not a banger because it looks kind of weird with the big ass controller, like an arcade controller, because it's pretty much an arcade type of game, pretty much, an arcade type of console, pretty much. The games were awesome; they were the best. But for the time being, it was actually really expensive, more overpriced than the PS3. I heard it was somewhere around $650 or some shit like that. You think that's not? Oh, you think that's like sound? Oh, you think that's expensive? Take a look at the Philips CDI. You know why this console failed? One of the things, it's a trash console, and one of the reasons, it was overpriced as fuck for the time. When it was released, it was. I swear this is true. $1,000 for this Philips CDI. Oh my god. I feel bad for Philips. And I heard that when, like, if the Philips CDI was released today, I heard it would have been $2,000. No, you can buy like 2 fucking laptops for that price. Hell, I can probably buy a little, like, I can fucking buy a TV for that price. A TV, like a fucking 4K TV. Well, 4K TVs are much more expensive than that, but I'd rather buy TVs than that. Next up, never heard of this thing. And next up we got is a banger, a Nintendo 64. Oh my god. One of the best consoles ever made by Nintendo. It's actually one of my favorite consoles, actually. So, man, I heard so much memories. I used to play. I didn't used to play, but I know me some some Super Mario 64, Zelda Ocarina of Time. That's probably one of the best games ever made. That's probably the best games ever made. The best game ever made. So Zelda Ocarina of Time and Mario Kart 64, Banjo, and all that shit. Oof, man, the best. Last but not least, I thought this was the Gamecom, but no, this is the Gamecom. No. Alright, finally. So that's all my ranking of every single video game console ever made and ever released, from worst to best. So that's it for the list, and that's it for the ranking, and that's it for the video. So this is it for the video. Stay tuned for maybe I'll do another ranking video. Maybe. So after this one, maybe I'll do another ranking. So stay tuned for that. Comment down below which video you want me to do next, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.